Hi guys, if you didn't see, AFK Journey recently released another, I guess, smaller event, but it's something that's really cool, has some really good rewards, and I just kind of want to go over it and talk about it. And that is, of course, the new Honor Duel system, I guess, like, event. The Honor Duel itself is not the new thing, but it's rather the event that they added. Originally, it was, of course, just play a little bit, and you get like these rewards up here, and these are all just normal weekly rewards, weekly rewards that they added to the game by itself. However, if you didn't see, they actually added this new activity called, or this new event called Expert Dueler, which is if you complete certain tasks or if you do certain if you play enough. Long story short, you get summons, which is really nice, of course, because, this is a very summon-based game. And you even get a skin for Parisa, which, again, looks pretty nice, right? She's kind of flowy. This is like a pretty decent skin. And before anything else, I just want to say that, number one, having a very random, kind of out of the blue, not really announced event for a PvP activity that yields rewards is crazy. It's very cool. I appreciate it a lot. Now, again, this is an event that lasts 20 days, and among all the other things that you'd probably be doing in the game, whether that's clearing Dream Realm, the wolf that you have to do for activities and getting that reward, the other world boss or world activity that we have later on, or in like 13 days, this is just kind of the the icing on the top. The rewards here, again, are really nice, and honestly, although the activities here are a little bit difficult to clear, something like, again, you have to deploy 100 of like a specific hero, and whether or not you want to do that while also, only having 4 attempts every day is a little bit difficult, but I just kind of wanted to point out the ones that I think are a little bit easier to kind of clear. And for me specifically, I think that obviously these ones that say achieve a perfect victory without selling any heroes, come on. But also, achieving a perfect victory without, actively refreshing in one round. All right. These are getting a little bit difficult. But if you take a look, honestly, at the earlier ones, some of them are maybe a little bit more manageable, like, upgrading an artifact, just deploying heroes. These are obviously a little bit lower, in value. But ultimately, if you find that the tasks are a little bit too difficult, you also still have the daily activity that you could complete, which is, of course, just participating in the activity every day. Now, again, to be clear, even if you were to only do this, or only were to do the easy tasks, that's 60 rewards every single day, or that's 60 points every single day. And of course, the event or the activity lasts 21 days. So that'll put you over at about what, 1200-ish points, 1260 or 1260 points. So it doesn't quite appear as though, at least from what I can tell right now, that you'll need to even do the difficult tasks. It's just that if you want the rewards quicker, faster, easier, of course, that would be the way to do it. Now, again, I am going to kind of go over and kind of give you a few tips about the Honor Duel, but I just wanted to point out that, again, if you are going to be trying to push for these activities earlier than, I guess, in about 10 or, 8 or so kind of ish days, here are a couple things, or like a couple of the tasks that you could do. Again, deploying like specific heroes, not that difficult, right? Same thing, ascending certain heroes, not that really difficult either, right? However, the perfect victories are obviously going to be a little bit more difficult, because not only are more people starting to play because they also want to get the rewards here, just generally speaking, we're at the point where you're not really fighting against bots or anything, or, people are kind of waking up and seeing, what the good compositions are when it comes to Honor Duel. But that's kind of where I want to make my first, I guess, explanation, or kind of give my first PSA when it comes to Honor Duel. And it's that no matter what, the whole point and the whole basis behind Honor Duel is that it's RNG. Now, of course, this is on my alt account. This is my free-to-play account, which I've been enjoying and playing and spending a lot of time on. But to be clear, even if I were on my main, there's no difference, because, again, Honor Duel is completely RNG. But if someone, for whatever reason, ends up getting a bunch of mythics or a bunch of legendaries when you are tiers below them, that's kind of just it, guys. Like, if you roll and you're looking for something like an all Wilder comp or an all Mauler comp, and someone else just has perfect Lightborn, they have like a mythic Cecia when, you don't have that, the game is just going to feel impossible. Furthermore, again, because it is completely RNG, if you are countered, again, let's say you are the Vala player here, and someone decides to end up, picking something like Igor, you are also just immediately kind of screwed in that sense. Now, to be fair to that, you do have 3 lives, and 3 lives across, your goal of getting, 9 victories is fine, but whether or not you're going to be trying to clear or get perfect victories, it's quite difficult, and you don't have infinite tries unless if you buy gold or you spend gold, but even then you only have, extra tries to try and make that work. But I highly recommend I don't really recommend using gold specifically for this, because again, you'll naturally get it in 10 days, and sometimes you'll need the gold for stuff like reforging your gear, or forging your gear rather, or for things like upgrading your artifact spells, which again also costs a lot of gold. However, again, if you're just taking a look at this, the initial combos and the things that are kind of valuable here, something that I do think is kind of worth noting is that, again, you do also have to take into consideration how good or how synergistic the artifact spell that you have is. Again, so if we just go through real quick, there's artifact spell, which increases, again, like the tankiness of the foremost hero. It also increases, the damage of all your allies so long as they're alive, which, if you take a look at this, you kind of have a good setup when it comes to Graveborn here, right? Like, you arguably will not really want Niru, because Niru's kind of but Thorin, quite good. And then alternatively, if you have Crystal Dew says that it restores all allied heroes without equipment, 100 energy, and grants them additional basic stats based on tier and such. And this one is maybe, again, more imprint focused. If you are going to be using this, again, you might be looking for something like like a mythic Vala earlier rather than later. And then again, you have stuff like Lucius. However, again, something that I do think you should take into consideration is that although you don't always need equipment, if you are locking yourself in specifically to trying to play without equipment, if you end up only getting equipment, what can I say, right? You're kind of limiting yourself. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to pick these. And then, of course, you also have the Flame Orb, which is, it says that it deals or fires a fireball at the weakest enemy, while it applies like basically a dot. And then, it's just an additional damage dealing skill. If you do want to use the Flame Orb, you could also argue that, again, this is an alternative if you still want to play someone like Vala, especially based off of what we have here. And of course, it's kind of like an assassination kind of tactic. But in my opinion, in terms of generally safe playstyles, and I'm sure you guys can feel the same way when it comes to PvE or Dream Realm, having a strong tank is very good, which is why I'm going to take the Thorn route here. Now, in terms of what you should actually be looking for, or what you could be looking for, what I will say is that although it may feel a little bit, I guess, what should I say? It may feel a little bit tempting to get some of these additional, these pieces of gear, like these 10 costing pieces of gear early. What I will say is that, again, nothing will really outpace simply just getting a 3, like a 3 card or a triple card that involves, or that could potentially give you just flat out like an imprint or a legendary imprint. In this case, I think that actually having Wilders alongside Graveborn is really nice, because then, again, you have access to characters like Byron or even, Iron as well. But it kind of depends, and of course, depending on what characters you're trying to pick or what compositions you're trying to pick, characters like Wilders are maybe not that insane without a certain amount of imprints, but keep in mind that other people may not even have imprints. So just this like kind of dual store layout that I have right now, the fact that I've basically 6 potential Wilders is pretty valuable, so I am going to purchase them and see what I get. Okay, so Damien, pretty good for PvP, and again, if I ever get someone like Igor, you can maybe pair the two together because the two of them are very good. However, I've basically kind of removed the need for, in this case, the Muriel and the, I guess, like, also the Niru, because, again, not very synergistic copies. But, oh, I cannot even buy that yet. Well, in any case, forgot about that. You learn something new every day, but I am going to be locking this Wilder composition. I'm just going to click match because, again, all I'm kind of looking for, even if you lose these first couple 2 rounds, is kind of finding pairs or finding, matches, because imprints are kind of king. Not even kind of. Imprints are king in this game mode. Again, buying these like early artifacts are not really valuable, but something that I do want to give, I guess, like a bit of, or I guess, a quick tip I would give when it comes to placing things, you don't really want to put out characters that are very easily snipeable or give away your position too much when it comes to placement. Now, again, the arena will kind of dictate who you put out first or where you put out. But ultimately for me, I find that especially since you don't really have access to this, to the backline with this wall, it does feel like the characters over here are a little bit safe, or they are, again, they're kind of excluded or limited. If they do end up putting someone over here, that's also fine. But if you want to put, you know, I guess like a damage dealer or a long-range character in these two tiles for specifically Arena 3, feel free to, but just keep in mind that they will be running to try and hit these backline characters here. I personally have found that trying to... Oh, let me put this out first. Whew! Sorry, I apologize while I was explaining. But personally, I feel that putting frontline characters here usually ends in disaster because a lot of people will put, you know, these pocket compositions or will line up characters on this side over here. So having additional time spent just to run along this wall and get shot at while you're doing it is kind of bad, but you do gain backline access to it. So if you do have someone like Sylvina, keep in mind that there's good value. But part of the reason why I didn't want to put someone like my Ardor, that's what this guy's name is, Arden, out first is because if there were assassins, right, you kind of leave yourself open to, again, like a Vala shooting or targeting specifically my DPS. But Damien in the backline, and the reason why I like Damien so much, is not really targetable, and at best you're targeting what, like the car, the RC car that he puts out, which is okay, but not very, you know, not very impactful by comparison. I am going to put my Niru back here, and again, this is kind of my first round. I kind of want to just put out my formation, and again, I'm trying to get the Wilder 3-piece that I had before, but it looks like, again, I have an okay chance of winning this. We have a little bit of, you know, a frontline frenzy here, with, again, the Thorin alongside the, you know, the Byron's, like, big eagle kind of initial attack. But whether or not I end up clearing here, I have Niru, which to me is kind of a dead pick. And in terms of just like valuable or like value in terms of reviving, I don't think he synergizes too well with me. Again, I ended up getting one shot here, or I'm not really doing too well here. He got Ccia. Ccia by far is the best early DPS that you could get for this. And of course, it kind of just synergizes, and he has a healer. And again, I got Niru, so unfortunate. However, again, and the reason why I think this is so important to I guess something really important to keep in mind is that, again, you are kind of only just looking for imprints, and how you perform early is not going to necessarily make or break you later. But again, just kind of things to remember. You have 3 lives, so even if you fail one of the early ones, so long as you're starting to build towards a composition, you're in fine hands or you're doing fine. And again, if this doesn't work, you get really unlucky, then it is what it is. And like I mentioned at the very beginning of this, guys, if you get RNG loss or if you don't end up getting any imprints or any matches, don't be discouraged. Again, you have multiple tries with Honor Duel. It is what it is. And even beyond that, at the end of the day, ultimately, guys, again, you could buy more tries. And then if it doesn't work one time, maybe it'll work the next time. But okay, so just moving along and kind of just explaining my thinking here again. We have the Honor Duel store. Salazar, not really what I'm looking for. I'm going to give a refresh here because, again, I have 36 and all I need is 33 to buy an extra copy. I could get 2 copies here, which is probably going to be what I'm going to do here. Unfortunately, I didn't find quite enough copies here to kind of justify, I guess, selling anything or trying to make like an additional copy, but it is what it is. I've got plenty of, you know, I've got plenty of space, and at worst, I'm going to be using my second life. Again, even, you know, we ended up on the same arena 3, but this time I'm going to give myself a bit more room in the front line. I'm going to give myself Iron here access to maybe potentially using his ultimate, and then again, I'm going to give myself Damien in the back line. Now, again, I don't really have too many good options here that are like neutral. Okay, again, like you see here, he's put like the Igor out. He's got the Satrana, and he's also got Thorin as well. This looks a little bit difficult because, again, he's got legendary and I've got no legendaries at all. And as you can see, I put in 2, or I received, or I purchased 2 Wilder pack copies, and I didn't get a single copy or a single legendary pairing. So in that case, I am probably going to just put out the Byron again. And although I could end up putting out a healer, I think having another tank here would be fine. So, or I shouldn't say fine. This is kind of what I'm left with. Grandma Donnie, having the Byron and having Iron here is okay. But of course, I'm not feeling too good. Satrana does kind of just assassinate my Byron, which is that's kind of the major concern that I have with specifically playing backline characters and kind of the threat of putting backline characters. It's just something that you always have to keep in mind, that someone could end up with an assassin, like a last minute Vala pick, a Sylvina, like whatever it is, and kind of ruining your day. And in this case, you could see it like I have no answer for the Igor, really. My DPS are not very, not doing too well. He's got the legendary, and it's unfortunate, but that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. You can't really help it. I could not have predicted a Sylvina. I could not have predicted the fact that he would have legendary and I don't. And even though I do have Grandma Donnie here, we do have Damien kind of, playing or acting as the backline here, or as the unfixable backline or the unkillable backline. Wait, this might actually end up working here. I'm not sure. This is kind of the reason why, by the way, I enjoyed taking Damien. It's because, like, you don't really have access to him, but unfortunately we ended up getting one shot. It did give us a lot of stalling time, as you saw, though, right? So whether or not you want to take an early Damien or if you want to get rid of him, that's completely up to you. And unfortunately, it looks like that is not good. I am going to buy another triple copy of Wilders, and hopefully I get pairs. And I didn't get any. Well, if I end up dying, guys, it is what it is, but I tried. Sometimes you're going to have games like this where, again, you're looking for imprints or you're looking for pairings and it doesn't end up working. But just keep in mind that what you are unironically looking for most of the time is pairings. And although you could argue, oh, well, if you bought the random 18, there's a chance you would have gotten copies. Just keep in mind that there is no real guarantees for that. It is strictly RNG in that sense. And unfortunately, even in this situation, we're fighting against, we're fighting in the same arena 3. And I don't know if we're gonna win here, guys. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I've got no legendaries whatsoever, and the likelihood of my opponent not having legendaries is pretty low. I'm going to put Byron again out in the front early. Hopefully we don't get screwed by legendaries. Okay, he's got 3 epics. This looks a little bit more doable. He does have Brutus. This time around, I'm gonna give myself a little bit more front. I think based on the fact that he has Roan, he's kind of playing this front to back composition. He's got Lamont and he's also got Brutus, so people are going to get pushed back a little bit. But I think that if I already have Byron, I already have Grandma Donnie, what I really probably need here then is a backline heal, like a backline DPS that can't get screwed up. And in that case, this is probably going to be the Leica. Leica not only busts my characters as well, she also has access to and I'm getting Seth. Oh, actually, Seth completely ignored my Leica, so we might be okay here. Except, ooh, I don't like the fact that Byron is taking so much damage. Okay, ooh, and that's the Shakir getting off wolf form. Oh, and unfortunate. Well, I didn't quite see if the Seth had legendary, but long story short, guys, like, if you get unlucky, you kind of see how it works here, right? Like, I didn't get a single legendary. I fixated all of my efforts into basically buying copies, and although you could argue that rolling may have given me an additional chance to get imprints and such, it was kind of unfortunate that the only copy I would have maybe been able to get was a Huan. It is what it is. Anyways, I know this is not the greatest showing, and I apologize because, again, like, unluckiness happens. Like, when it happens, you saw it in real time. Honor Duel, no matter how hard you try, what kind of strategy you enact, if you don't get copies, you don't get copies. And buying out gear maybe yielded one additional victory, but it doesn't guarantee you anything. But anyways, guys, those are. Wow, this kind of did not feel that good in terms of giving you guys advice, but this is basically what happened in my Honor Duel. This is the new event and things that I like to do when it comes to trying to perform in Honor Duel. Again, getting imprints is kind of nice, and after the imprints, again, then you could argue that maybe getting artifacts or some stuff to that nature would have been really nice, but again, my Thorn ended up not performing as well. It is what it is. I didn't get another copy of him or any other characters to kind of synergize. But yeah, that was it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I guess the thing to learn, by the way, is just get lucky. But anyways, if you enjoyed today's content, make sure to like, comment, turn the notification bell, and subscribe. Thank you again for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. I'm so sorry for this showcase. Good night.